Minecraft 1.21.4 The Garden Awakens update is out now, containing a brand new biome, a new mob, and some brand new blocks, as well as a load of other features, which I want to take a look at today. Now first of all, this update adds a brand new biome into the game, known as the Pale Garden. In appearance, this biome is very similar to the Dark Oak Forest, but it has some differences. For example, you'll notice all of this moss on the floor, which is a brand new block, known as Pale Moss Blocks, as well as the Pale Moss Carpet, which we'll take a look at later. Next, we've also got the Pale Oak Trees, which come with hanging moss, as well as Pale Oak Leaves, which have this really cool falling leaf particle, which honestly, that looks really cool. Next, if we take a look at all of the short grass, tall grass, or even the grass blocks, you'll notice a really cool tint to the biome. That also affects the sky, as it is much more pale now. Hence the name, Pale Garden. And we can also take a look at water, which has definitely changed colour a lot. Now, if you explore this biome for a bit, you may encounter some of these brand new types of flowers. We've got the eye blossoms. Now these eye blossoms come in two forms, the closed eye blossom and the open eye blossom. During the daytime, all eye blossoms will remain closed. However, if we set it to night, you'll notice that one by one, these eye blossoms actually start to open and have this really cool emissive texture to them. And once it turns day again, all of these flowers will begin to close and have these really cool particle effects coming off of them. Now these two flowers can actually be used to create different dyes. The closed eye blossom creates, which is an amazing source of grey dye within Minecraft, whereas the open eye blossom will create orange dye. If you would like to find some more eye blossoms, or just find a small pale garden that actually doesn't have any, you can actually just bone meal the ground, and they'll occasionally spawn. For example, we got one there, and if we bone meal this area enough, some more will spawn. There we go. Now this pale garden biome is pretty unique, as you'll actually not encounter any sort of passive mobs. However, hostile mobs will still spawn. Obviously the standard ones like zombies, creepers, but also a brand new mob added into this update for Garden Awakens, the Creaking, which we'll take a look at in a bit, and it's going to kill me. But whilst this Creaking tries to kill me, make sure to subscribe, as during December, I will be catching 5 fish inside of my Minecraft hardcore world for every brand new subscriber that I get. So if you want to see me end up catching a lot of fish, make sure to subscribe. But we'll take a proper look at this Creaking in a bit, as it's time to take a look at all of the blocks. And these are all of the brand new blocks and items added in Minecraft's brand new Garden Awakens update. Obviously, as there's a brand new tree type, we get a pale oak log, a stripped pale oak log, as well as the wood forms. We get the planks, which come with stairs, slabs, fences, gates, as well as this really cool door design, as well as this amazing trapdoor design. We get pale moss blocks and pale moss carpet, which we'll take a further look at in a minute. Pale oak leaves, pale hanging moss, the pale oak sapling, the sign and hanging signs, as well as boats, and a brand new block known as the Creaking Heart. And I've just remembered, there's also another new type of block added in this update known as Resin. But first I want to take a look at this pale moss block. Now to be honest, this is a very simple block. It works the same way as a regular moss block would. You can bone meal it and it will spread, spawning some grass as well as these moss carpet. One of the cool parts about this moss carpet though, is the fact that if you place it, it may be better if I grab out like an oak plank for example. If I place a carpet, you'll notice that it actually starts growing up the side, which I think is really cool. And if we add 2 oak planks, the moss carpet actually has a chance to grow up the side like that. You can obviously break that bit if you don't want it, or bone meal it to make it easily. But honestly, I think this is a really cool part of the pale moss carpet, as it will definitely help to add more texture to your builds. This pale hanging moss is also a really cool block, as it just hangs from the tops of leaves, and to get more of it, you can obviously bone meal it, and it can be hung from any type of block. And I think the best part about this pale hanging moss is the fact that it can be hung from leaves, which is one of the first blocks to do so, because you can't hang lanterns from leaves, or you can't even hang roots from leaves, which honestly I would love to see in the game in the future. Now honestly, out of all these pale wood blocks in Minecraft, I think my favourite, and what might be my new favourite block in Minecraft, is this stripped pale oak log. I just think this is an amazing looking texture. And honestly, the sapling looks amazing, and one of the best parts about it is you can actually just place it, because if I grab some bone meal out, it will never grow into a full-size tree, as you'll actually need to place 4 saplings together, like you would with a dark oak tree, in order to actually grow a tree. Sadly, it doesn't look like it actually spawns with hanging moss though, which I was not aware of. Yeah, it doesn't look like it does, annoyingly. So it means you'll actually have to travel to the Pale Gardens in order to get the hanging moss blocks. As I did mention earlier, one of the coolest part about these pale garden biomes is the fact that the leaves add these really cool falling leaf effects. I think this is such a cool texture, and one I'd love to see added to all the other leaves in Minecraft. I know we sort of get it with cherry leaves, but with all the other leaves, I think it would just look amazing. Next up, we can take a look at the Creaking Heart. But to take a look, we actually have to go to a pale garden biome. Not a super flat one, an actual pale garden with like trees and things. And to actually find a Creaking Heart, you need to find a Creaking at nighttime. Because if I punch this Creaking, it will let off these really cool particle effects. So I know that in one of these trees around here, if I just punch him again, yeah, it looks like it's over here, where it looks like a resin clump has actually spawned, but we'll take a look at that in a bit. If I break through, you'll see a Creaking Heart. Now, this Creaking Heart is honestly such a cool block, as it's described as a living block generating in pale oak trees, covered on all sides by pale oak wood logs. It can also emit subtle, eerie sounds when it is active and surrounded by any types of logs, stripped logs, wood, or stripped woods on all 6 directions. Now, if I actually draw this Creaking over to me, as you can't actually look at it, but we'll take a look at that in a bit. If I start punching it, you'll notice that these resin clumps start spawning, which we can obviously just insta-mine to pick up, and I can keep punching him to get more and more. Punch. Some more spawns. Punch again. Oh, there we go. Punch a few more times. Will we get some more? Yeah, it looks like we do. Obviously, I want to head up here for a second. Doesn't look like he can reach me. The Creaking Heart block is mined most efficiently with an axe, but you can silk touch it to actually pick it up. And it will actually drop XP, and you'll notice that this Creaking actually dies. And we get this really cool Creaking Heart block. And if you want more Creaking Hearts, it can actually be crafted. All you need to do is collect 2 pale oak logs, as well as a resin block crafted with 9 resin clumps to create 1 Creaking Heart. One other cool thing about the Creaking Heart block is you can actually place it back in order to spawn a Creaking. However, if you break this Creaking Heart, it can still spawn the resin. But if you break it, if I can actually break it without getting killed by zombies, it will not drop any XP. And if you break one of these normally, it will actually only drop a couple of resin clumps. And it's actually affected by fortune, meaning you get a load of resin clumps from just breaking the Creaking Heart. Although I wouldn't recommend it, as you can just punch a Creaking to get a couple of resin clumps each time. But why would you want these resin clumps? Well, in order to craft a brand new block of resin. And honestly, this is such a cool block. Obviously, it's made by 9 resin clumps and can actually be crafted back into 9 resin clumps. But it's one of the coolest blocks within Minecraft, as you can actually break it instantly without any tool needed. Which is honestly such a cool block feature from a block in Minecraft, as we don't really have many. I know TNT and scaffolding are examples, but they're sort of exceptions, like TNT explodes, scaffolding mobs can't spawn on. So this would actually be a really good block to use for mob farms, as mobs can spawn on it, and it instantly mines. And also look a bit like baked beans, but yeah, maybe you didn't want to know that though. But you can also unlock a new block set of resin. All you need to do is collect some resin clumps and put it in the furnace. And this will create some resin bricks, which is honestly such a cool looking texture. Once you're in the crafting table, you can craft a resin brick block with 4 of these. And honestly, this is a really nice looking texture. It also has slab stairs and wall variant, as well as a chiseled resin brick, which has a Creaking's face on it. The only annoying part about these blocks though is they are not instantly broken. You need a pickaxe to mine these. But these resin bricks also have other uses. For example, you can go into the smithing table and combine it with armor trims to have a brand new armor trim color within your Minecraft world. And obviously with resin, you get this really cool orange texture. And don't worry, it is a good armor trim decoration, as it looks completely different from gold or copper. Next up, I want to take a proper look at a brand new Creaking mob. That's where its face is. Now, as we've seen already, this Creaking mob will spawn in the Pale Gardens at night time, although they are quite rare to find, so I'm going to try my best to find a naturally spawning one. Oh, I can hear it. There it is. And they'll obviously only attack you if you're not looking, so I can look at it and it'll be fine. As soon as I turn around, it will start hitting me. But if you punch it, it will let off these particle effects, telling you exactly where its Creaking heart is, which you can destroy in order to kill this Creaking. So we know that if we mine up through this tree, that's where the Creaking heart will be. Now, this Creaking is actually invincible, so there's nowhere at all I can kill it. Even if I spam click it with a netherite axe, it doesn't do anything. If I summon a piece of TNT, it won't do anything. unless the Creaking heart is actually destroyed, which I'm going to try and do without getting knocked off by this guy. That almost didn't work. So all we need to do is destroy it, get a bit of XP. He starts twitching and then he disappears and dies. With a melee attack, the Creaking does 3 damage, which is 1.5 hearts. And it will follow players and attack from up to 32 blocks away from its Creaking heart block. Now interestingly, if I wear a carved pumpkin and look at this Creaking, it will still continue to attack me, which is sort of the reverse of Enderman. So maybe if you're trying to fight Enderman and you want to wear a pumpkin, don't go into the Pale Garden biome at night. Also, I only one-shot that one because I summoned it in with a spawn egg, as creative spawned ones can just be killed in one shot, even with spam clicking apparently. Now there are some other tweaks to this Minecraft update. For example, the bell, lanterns, iron and copper doors, as well as iron, gold, blackstone and stone pressure plates, as well as brewing stands, will all drop if mined with any tool. And I believe this includes your fist. Yeah, it does. The textures of the 2 nether brick blocks have been changed in order to match the brick block as well as the resin brick block. Now obviously the Garden Awakens update will also contain some bug fixes as well as some technical changes, which I actually don't understand at all, so I won't go into them. But to be honest, I'm going to rate this update a solid 8 out of 10. I actually am a massive fan of all these brand new things added. For example, this pale wood is going to be amazing, as well as these brand new pale oak leaves. I really like the colour of them, the sort of whitish tint to them. I think they could look quite cool in a Christmas build. I think this resin has its uses, especially this block of resin, which can instantly be mined. I love the fact we've got a brand new armor trim. The Creaking mob seems really interested, as well as all the other bunch of tweaks and changes to this Minecraft update. I'm a massive fan, and I hope you are too. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to subscribe, as I would really appreciate it, and I will also be fishing 5 times per every brand new subscriber that I get in the month of December. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.